Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Yo, let's get it going out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the world. Welcome on into a weird skippity intro there.
You just asked me if it's
here?
working. I don't
What's
know.
going on?
I don't know. It worked
See-
Thursday night it worked for my whiskey stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but Wednesday night it didn't work for anything. The other night it didn't work for anything.
Well, last week there was no sound, and here I am just getting all hyped, but yet there's no
Look,
music.
StreamYard's got to figure something out. It's all on them. They
Tanner-
got to figure
Tanner-
something out.
We're about to cancel StreamYard culture because this is just getting out of control with the way that they go about things. Like, what's holding them down? What's wrong with them?
They are. All right, to give them credit, they are implementing a lot of new features. I will give them that. It does put a lot of bugs out there. So
For real, give them some fucking credit.
I'll give them some credit.
All right. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining in. I am excited. Obviously, we're all excited. As a matter of fact, Jason JD to my left, Tanner Dawson to my right, and we are AFC champions.
Yeah.
Right, ladies and
I don't
gentlemen.
know if you guys caught Monday night. I was okay with it if it was copyrighted, but Botkins has to wear red because we made
As
a bet.
deserved.
So he was wearing red in there, and of course, the way I start Buffoon and Botkins on Monday nights, Red Kingdom. I put it on my phone, blasted it right away, got it rolling.
Right. So as you guys know, if you followed along Sunday before the games, Nick Bodkins had his picks out there. He's a big Joey B fan. I wonder how he's feeling after Joey B threw 2 picks. And really, honestly, I don't care what anyone else has to say about this. Burrow did not play a good game whatsoever. I think it's trash.
It was pretty off that he was pretty off.
Look, I want to say one thing. T. Higgins had a badass catch at one point in the game down the sideline. Jamar Chase as well had a badass catch. It was like 40 yards downfield. Those 2 plays were awesome. Take away those 2 players. Don't even take them away. That's not fair. Let's say those 2 plays don't happen specifically. Joe Burrow's numbers look like trash. And I think we need to keep that in check, as well as taking 5 sacks. Playoff Chris Jones now. We had playoff Frank Clark meet regular season Chris Jones for the first time, and it was a beautiful thing to
it was
behold.
great to see. Great to see Chris Jones blowing up the middle.
Wait, here's the thing about Joey B. He went on a tear for quite a few games in a row there, and it kind of reminded me of Jerick McKinnon, where I kind of missed on our parlay the other day because Jerick McKinnon was on fire for like several weeks in a row, and I feel like the same way about Joey B. I knew, all of us that have gambling experience, when something's on fire, sooner or later, that thing is going to come to an end, no matter if it's like, if you're betting on red or black, or if you're talking about quarterbacks in the NFL, you can only be on fire for so long. And he was due for that bad game, and that's exactly what happened.
It was
right, and it came in a big moment in it was kind of a legacy game in a lot of ways. I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes go out there. He really just had one really bad play during the game that could have been catastrophic, but at the end of the day, he threw for 326 and 2 touchdowns, and he is currently statistically the greatest playoff quarterback in the history of the game. That is a fact.
Oh, he's better than Brady. Wow. That's amazing.
We'll talk about Brady here in just a moment. First and foremost, guys, like I said, glad you guys have joined us. How you guys feeling, though?
I'm good. It's a pretty damn great past week. Chiefs win. KU beat Kentucky. Got back on track against K-State last night. I'm good. I'm good right now.
That's right, because you did get the revenge a little bit there as well. So, Tanner, you got 2 revenge games in 1 week. You got the Chiefs beating the Bengals, and you got KU coming back to beat K-State.
And we beat them handedly, actually.
Right.
So.
I know. I'm very well
I'll take it.
as well as a very fun having Travis Kelce was at the game I saw, as well as we saw some videos of Travis Kelce out there partying out at the Wheel, apparently, as a bar in KU.
I've never been.
Have you been to the Wheel?
I don't think I have.
None of us have been. We're old, I guess, but
I mean,
Connor
never heard of
took
it.
me to some spots. Let me look up.
You're the same age as Travis Kelce, Tanner. So I mean, you should know about the Wheel.
And Lawrence.
All I know is we saw a video. I don't know if you saw this yet, Jason, but Kelce was partying after the KU game.
Have not.
And
Callie wanted me to take
eating a slice of pizza. Meanwhile, all the young college kids are hanging out with him, calling him the GOAT. Which, hey, they're not wrong. But he's eating a slice of pizza. They're asking him, what do you rate this pizza? And he's like, I'll probably give it it's a 9. It's a solid 9. And he goes, I have about 6 more beers, it's probably be a turn. So, anyways, I love seeing Travis out there having a good time with some random fans and just partying around town. I don't really care. Even though I'm not a KU fan, I don't really care. I want to see my boys out there having a good old time.
It was pretty cool to see him at the game right after,
Right, exactly. And then he's staying in town obviously right now because they're flying out very soon to go to Arizona. So JG, how you feeling, man?
Feel great, man. I was just getting ready to ask you guys, what are y'all sipping on today? I've got my chalk teas that my supplier was sold out of last week. I was kind of pissed off. They got it back in stock, so I'm back on the chalk teas from Buzzballs.
That's right, the chalk teas, man. It's your old favorite. So you guys remember? I think I've told you guys this, but back when I used to work at Target and I used to do the late shift, I was a cart attendant for my, when I was 19 or 20, and yeah, I would go to liquor store next door and I'd get myself a little buzzball myself in the parking lot while I was pushing some carts.
You're 19 or 20?
Wait.
Did you
Maybe I
say
just
it
turned
that way?
21.
I'm pretty sure you were 21.
Okay, maybe I just look at
That
no,
sounds
hold on.
off.
Maybe, gosh, what was I doing back then? I don't know. That was 12 years
So
ago.
wait. So
I forgot. That's a good Titter. Thanks for pointing that
I'm
out.
like, wait a minute here.
So
Maybe I had just turned 21,
I think you just turned 21.
but I wasn't doing carts at that point. I was like working in the back room.
Well, you were at the end of your carts. Is what it was.
I don't know.
So that
don't
I
know.
feel like that should be a buffoon topic for next week. How many jobs have you had in your life where they pay you to go get drunk?
Well,
I feel like I probably shouldn't answer that.
yeah.
in
I
front of
mean,
everybody,
look,
but-
in my 20s, I've had a couple of those, but I'm a good boy these days, and I appreciate and respect the company I work for. So I would never do such things. But the companies that deserve to have drunk employees, that's what you get. You pay for what you get. So
That's true.
that is how it goes, you guys. So obviously, guys, we got a lot to get to today. We are going to hit on a little bit of a Super Bowl preview, but not a ton. We're saving that primarily for next week, so keep that in mind. But today, guys, I want to talk a little bit about obviously the retirement of Tom Brady, and not hit on it too much because I'm sure we talked about this a year ago. And of course, we're going to talk.
Actually,
What?
it was February 1st, 2022, when he announced his
Right.
first retirement.
That's what I mean. It was literally
Legit
a year ago. Right. It was literally a year ago when he announced his retirement for the first time. I don't think he's going to pull an old Brett Favre on us.
I was going to ask you. I
It was
didn't
40
ask you
days.
all today.
So it took him 40 days, the
To
last
decide.
go around,
Yeah.
to announce that he was coming out of retirement.
So are we going to wait?
I feel like the over-under should be set at 40 days.
But do you guys? So I didn't message you guys about any of this because I want to talk to you, get your reactions on this on the show. Do you think last year you guys both said he's coming back, no problem? Does it happen this time?
Well, here's the
So
thing.
we were right last time, by the way, Tanner.
Correct, you were.
This time, the answer is no,
Well,
from my perspective.
He did it on his own terms this time too. Last time it was leaked.
let's just look at
This
the
time it was.
let's
on
look
his
at the
own.
big picture here. So just went through a divorce, which that's a tough time for anybody. I don't care if you are. I don't care if you're Tom Brady or if you're just like some rando guy that just got divorced. Like he went through a tough time, and I feel like that probably is a reason why he didn't look like Tom Brady on the field, because you can try to ignore that kind of thing, but he said that he's physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted after going through this past year of his life. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously he's going to retire. I don't like the way he did it, on Twitter with his video. And I think it's legit, but I also know where he's coming from. Like Tom Brady is he's a competitor until the day he dies. And I just don't think, I mean, he could sit out for a year or he could sit out for 40 days like he did last year. The dude is coming back. And I can't tell you when it's going to happen. And it may not happen this year, but I certainly,
You're
I'm
saying-
not going to be shocked if the guy sits out a year and comes
You're
back.
saying we could be waiting a whole year for him to come back, so he could start his TV deal this year, and then come back to play
So here the thing is, like
like a Witten.
I listened to an interview with this guy one time, and his role model is Michael Jordan. Well, what did Michael Jordan do? Michael Jordan came out of retirement not once, but twice. And Brady was quoted as saying, like, I'm chasing a ghost. I don't care if he was playing a completely different sport. The guy went 6 for 6, undefeated in his sport. Now, while Brady has more championships than Jordan, I still see that. I see him as being a guy that has that competitive nature and a guy that's not going to want to hang it up. And so what did Jordan do? He came out of retirement twice. I do believe that Brady will come out of retirement for a second time. I just don't know if it's going to be this year or if he's going to sit out a year.
That's a whole different deal, though. That's a whole different. Brady played till he was 45, right? He played all through the years. Jordan retired early because he won 3 in a row and wanted to go try a different sport, and then he came back.
But Jordan also retired.
And then he retired after that.
Jordan retired for the second time, left the Bulls,
At
and then
40, right?
I don't know how old he was, but when he came back to the Wizards, he actually put up a 50 burger in a game with the Wizards. So he wasn't exactly a bum. And I feel like Tom Brady has the skill set. He could do the exact same thing. And so if I had to make a prediction, the dude's going to come back. There's too much competitive fire. Granted, I understand he's exhausted from the season and from what happened in his personal life. I get it. But take some time off. If you're exhausted, that's fine. Everybody understands it. He's going to come back, dude.
Years.
And you can't tell me that if you throw him on that San Francisco 49er roster, that they're not going to be world beaters. You can't tell me. Like, that roster is too good. You throw Brady in there, they're going to be the favorites to go all the way.
By the way, Jordan's retirement ages is 1993. It was age 30. Second was 35. And his third retirement was at 40.
But that's basketball, though.
Correct.
You have to have
a lot more.
It's a lot more athleticism required, obviously, in that sport.
I'm just stating the fact that he played 20 seasons till he was 45 versus Jordan, who had to break up his career. That's the whole reason why he had to take breaks, because basketball is so much.
I'm just saying, like, I would call the guy out, dude. That retirement was lame. Seriously, you did a little video on the beach, and then you put it on. You put it on Twitter. I mean, that was lame. I think you can do a better job than that in terms of like having a
fancy video or.
I want
press conference.
I want a legitimate retirement. Yeah, a press conference or something. It was just lame. It was so totally lame to me, and I just that made me feel like it wasn't the last time that he was going to do it. But mark my words, this guy is not going to give up. And we're comparing. He did it himself. He compared himself. He didn't use the exact words, but he compared himself to Kobe, to Jordan, to Tiger Woods. And I'm telling you, Jordan came out of retirement twice, and that's exactly what Brady's going to do. May not be this year. Probably going to be next year. It's going to happen, dude.
I don't think it will, man.
I want to say this. You understand that during his short Twitter speech this morning, he made a point about how you only get one sappy retirement speech in your career, and he already did that a year ago. He was acknowledging the fact that he already had one emotional retirement a year ago, and basically that was that moment that you're asking for. That original one from 1 year ago was the time, the thing you're wanting to see. And he's saying, okay, well, I already did that, and now I'm going to do it this way. And basically let everybody know, just in his own way, that he's done playing. And I think he's probably felt this way for a while, I'm guessing, especially after such a bad year. The year before, it wasn't a bad year necessarily. I mean, they still had a winning record for the Buccaneers. There was still a lot of hope that they could go back again to the Super Bowl. Finishing 8-9 in a really bad division is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call to say, hey, my team's not good enough. I'm not playing good enough either. And from there, it's kind of a wake-up call of like, this is a good time to say it's time for me to get out. But I do want to make one point. I got divorced, and it was the best 6 months I've ever had in my life afterwards. So, it was an amazing time. When I got divorced, I went around partying all the time. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Like it was just like 6 months worth of just a badass time.
So I like that. I like that perspective. So you're saying Brady he's ready to go out and get smashed all the time and not have any responsibility.
He's ready to smash something, but I'm not sure what it is yet. But anyways, my point really is though, I think that the thing that you're thinking about right now, though, is what's regarding Brady. is that he can take some time away from the game or whatever. The problem is most guys can do that because most guys don't play till they're 46, 47, 48 years old. You know what I mean? At this point in his career, time is really dwindling away. We talk about guys taking a year off here and there. You know, like Andrew Luck could have taken 3 years off from playing football when he retired, come back and still been productive. Tom Brady at this point, and we saw him. I told Jason this earlier today. The arm was not looking good those last few games. The inaccuracy was not looking pretty whatsoever. There's a reason why that team was 8-9. Yes, part of it was because the defense wasn't great. Part of it was because of no run game. Part of it's because you threw 730 something passes this year.
What about coaching? Are we going to put some of that on the coaching?
No, look, I'm not worried about coaching. We're talking about Tom Brady's actual ability. His ability is actually dwindling away.
I am worried about the coaching because how
that has nothing to
shitty
do with it.
how shitty of a player was Peyton Manning when he won that fucking Super Bowl? He was a shitty player.
Right.
You throw
You
Brady
also-
in there with Kyle Shanahan and those players, like
Sure.
he can win a fucking Super Bowl, and he knows it.
And
He fucking knows
and
it.
Peyton was also 40 years old. Tom Brady is about to be 47.
Yeah, he was 40 years old with a fucked up neck and two bulky ankles. Tom
We're talking
Brady's
about
relatively healthy compared to Peyton Manning at that
at the
stage.
end of the day, though. I think that we're starting to see a difference in his ability throwing the ball at age 46 compared to what we've seen previously.
I just don't think his mind was right, man. His mind wasn't into it. Going through a divorce, I mean, it's
Well,
just not the same.
If it wasn't into it, it's because the team around him was bad. I mean, these guys weren't making a lot of plays. Mike Evans had 1,000 yards like he always does, but I mean, we weren't seeing the same team as before because the team from the previous 2 years ago when they beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl could run the ball. That team for some reason was running the ball, and Brady has thrown over 700 attempts 2 years in a row. Why would you ever ask that of a guy who's in his mid 40s? That is silly to me.
Well, if he gets on the Niners, he won't have to do that
Right,
shit.
but
They
that's
run the ball.
Wishful thinking. And right now the Niners are excited about the future of Brock Purdy.
So we got to figure out how old Vinny Testaverde was when he retired, because I'm pretty sure that
43.
guy
43.
43.
And he was a backup and he sucked ass.
I was thinking he
Why?
came back. I thought he was older than that.
43 and he sucked ass. That's all I can say about it. I'll
44.
44.
all I can-
44, 21 seasons.
All I'm saying is you could take a year off and then just throw passes to Gronkowski, Edelman, and Danny Amendola
He
in
wants
your,
the
in your
broke. He
fucking
wants the
backyard.
broke to get back together.
Just
It's not
they,
happening.
throw them passes in the backyard and then just get revved up for another season.
He wants to bring back the old clan, watch them all break their dicks, and then that's we had a whole conversation about this last week, Jason, about broken dicks, and here you are again bringing up Edelman and
Sprain.
Gronk
Well-
and Amendola. I
It
mean,
was
good.
sprain.
Bring back, hey, Wes Welker, fuck it.
To me, Brady is not broken. Those other receivers.
No, Brady.
yeah,
I
they're
still
broken.
thought Brady could play easily another year or two. I really do at an effective level.
He can. So, do you think he's coming back
No.
or no? You think he's
I
done?
think after that message, what I saw is a guy like, "Hey, it's been fun."
I think he's
Thanks.
done. I think he's done right now, in his mind. But I think he's going to have a change of heart based on just being out of the game for a while. And just like I said, he's got too much competitive fire.
Well, I mean, the difference between him and Gronk too, though, coming into play, like Gronk said he got bored, right? And then he started doing TV. Brady's got that big money TV deal to go to now. What was that with Fox or CBS or
Yeah,
something
Fox
like that?
it's a 10-year deal for $375 million.
So the guy doesn't necessarily need the money.
No.
He's already holds.
He never needed the money. I mean, he always took pay cuts.
As of 2021, he's a 7-time Super Bowl champ, 4 Super Bowl MVP awards, 3 NFL MVP awards, 14 Pro Bowl selections, holds the career passing touchdowns record, passing yards.
Tanner,
and,
we know.
wins as a starting
We know.
quarterback. and that's and like, why do you come
Tanner,
back?
we know.
If you win the game,
I'm just telling you,
Why do you come
like, if he takes a year off or if he doesn't, if the Niners show up next year and they've got two broken dicks at quarterback,
So-
Brock Purdy and Trey Lance,
if they both,
what are you going to do?
well, potential if Purdy does the Tommy John surgery, he's out, or he's already out for the whole year.
He hasn't even done the surgery yet.
I know they haven't decided yet. They're doing still quotes. The rumor is if he has to do a Tommy John style surgery, he's done. It's done. It's a Trey Lance job because Brady won't be able to come back until the following year.
Sure, and Trey Lance has proven nothing yet.
Correct.
So let's keep
it's a
that in
dumb
mind.
move. It's a dumb
And then,
move.
of course, you got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's just a random name now hanging around.
So you bring in Tom Brady as your stopgap quarterback for 1 year.
I really think the 49ers at this point, after they find out after Purdy gets, has to go to Tommy John, I really think that they start throwing money elsewhere. And if they stick with Trey Lance, that's a huge
Well, Derek
mistake
Carr's
for
up
that
for
team.
grabs. Put Derek Carr over there, and maybe he'll thrive once and for all.
Well, they're not getting.
I don't know what to tell you guys.
They're not getting Aaron Rodgers. I can tell you that right the fuck now. They would have to give up too much.
Yeah. What is Green Bay? So
all I can really say about it, I really think that Brady is for sure done this time.
yeah.
I think there is a small chance that he takes a year off, reevaluates his off the field life for a full year, and then could come back the year after, which is really a stretch because at 47 going into 48, I just don't see that being a good idea. But anyways, that's my feelings on it.
Needs to get 8 rings, man. 8 rings.
What's that going to
he's gotta
do for
go
you?
for.
No one else is going to get 7 that's playing right now. What's 8 going to do for
What's
you?
8 going to do?
It'll put you out of reach for anybody. I mean, nobody's going to reach him right now. But if you get 8, then that's game over. Nobody's ever going to reach your dick on that one.
Yeah, I mean, well,
that's a tough one.
As great as a guy like Patrick Mahomes is, I mean, I don't see him being that productive when he's in his 40s. Because Tom Brady had 3 separate Hall of Fame careers throughout his 20s, 30s, and 40s. You could make a case that each one of those time frames of his life were Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah,
which is absolutely absurd.
By the way, if you think about it too, for Tom Brady's lengthy career, successful career, think about the off seasons he had. They were 3 to 4 games shorter every single year almost. Like, because if you're going to Super Bowl that much, just like LeBron, right, with the finals, you have that much less time to recuperate in the offseason versus other teams. So
I think that stuff's overrated.
You don't think that?
Especially now, that's another reason why I think he should come back is because, like, we're protecting quarterbacks in this league unlike we ever have in the history of the game. I mean, you're not allowed to even fart on the guy or they're going to throw a damn flag. It's like, dude, Brady, just come back. Just come back, dude.
Here, look, his arm is not looking good, but I will say this to give you some maybe benefit of the doubt. After throwing that 730 passes over the course of the season, which was the most of his entire career, that could have something to do with why it looked so poor in the playoffs.
Just hand the damn ball off, dude. If you go to the Niners,
not effective.
If he goes to the 49ers, just hand off the damn ball. And you don't have to throw that much. And
if you can get his attempts down to somewhere in the 5s,
yes,
then that would make a big impact on helping him.
Huge impact.
Prolong the season. Why are you throwing the ball 50 to 60 times a game with 45-year-old Tom Brady?
Because you have Todd Bowles as your fucking coach. He's a defensive-minded coach.
Well,
he doesn't give a shit about the offense.
Now
Bruce Arians was a little better of a coach than Todd
Of course he was.
Now they just fired the guy that was a potential head coach candidate as of last year. So with the left foot shot now, so not a good thing.
Yeah, whatever. The Buccaneers are going to be a kind of a dumpster fire going forward, I would say at the moment. So that's just my thoughts.
I think this retirement too saved $30 million cap or something like that for the Bucks since he retired. He had to come back or retire.
I think he has $35 million against the cap going in next year.
So this is Tampa Bay's preference.
I'm just saying, dude, if you're the Niners, you already pissed away I don't know how many draft picks on Trey Lance. Just go all in. Do it like the LA Rams did it. Just go all in. Go all in right now. Get fucking Tom Brady and then let the chips fall where they may for 1 year, because I guarantee you they'd be the fucking favorite to win the whole thing.
You're gonna have 2 AFC teams with multiple first-round draft picks.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the hell their plan is for all that nonsense. So, guys, we're gonna get the Chiefs here in just a minute. We're gonna talk a little bit briefly about the slight recap of the Bengals game, as well as a small preview of the Eagles game. Of course, we're talking tons about that next week. But first and foremost, there was something else that happened today. The Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, has decided that he is no longer physically fit enough to be touring anymore. And I'm not saying he's not overweight. It's not one of those kind of deals. Ozzy's always been a very slender, whatever you want to call him, guy. He's having vocal issues. His health has had a lot of problems over the past 5 years or so. But it got me thinking, me as a kid, I'm a metalhead. I'm currently wearing a Mudvayne shirt. Those of you out there that know who that is, Thank you so much. But seeing Ozzy basically call it quits and say he's done with the tour. He's done at 74 years old. Reminds me, Tom Brady done at this point. But it got me thinking about current day current day touring artist, and who would you guys most be upset to see call it quits? Who's going to be the one that affects you the most when they say they're done performing? Because we're maybe not of the age group yet where we notice our favorite musicians retiring from music. But there might be a few guys out there that are going to bother you down the road, maybe 10, 15 years from now. So just who comes to mind first and foremost?
I mean, not that I get out and see a lot of concerts, right? My last concert was George Strait on his retirement tour.
Well, even just making music, Tanner. So not even
Well,
concerts necessarily,
I
but like just once they're done with music.
So for me, it's one of two guys really that I love hearing. It's going to be Bruno or Post Malone.
No, you already said George Strait. You have to go with your gut.
George
on
Strait's
this one.
retiring. That's the whole issue.
He is retiring.
It was a retirement tour, stadium
Okay.
tour. So
All right.
I'm not putting him in there.
So he's done with music then. George Strait's done.
He's
making
done
music,
after I think next year in Wisconsin.
which he's a country legend,
he
right?
is a country legend.
right? So I
He was-
get that.
He
So
was great.
But I mean, like-
first and only time I've ever seen.
have you felt an attachment to the music? Is that why? You
Yeah,
said
I
it?
grew up on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You, your family, everybody likes
Yeah.
it pretty much.
My
right?
mom-
He,
grew up
he was kind of a big swinging dick stick. I didn't even like country music that much, but when I heard
See?
his ass, dude,
You were good.
oh yeah, we're gonna listen to that shit.
Yeah. So if I had to pick something within my era, that's not near retirement, a couple guys I would love to see at some time would be Post Malone or Bruno Mars. Couple of it's two artists I follow closely. I love all their music, and they're so creative on the way they do stuff. Right, Bruno with the old fashioned style, doo wop style, essentially with Bruno, and then Post Malone with his. I don't know. He's just creative Post Malone's just creative with his raps and stuff. So those are two guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I have a nephew that actually graduated high school with Post Malone.
No way.
I feel like I should be able to get him on the show at some point, but that's probably never going to happen because
He's a pretty unique guy and a
Yeah.
great artist musically.
Oh,
He can play all the
Yeah.
instruments. I mean, the guy is just he can do it. He can be a one man band if
he
he
looks
wanted
like
to.
such a nutcase, but when you talk, people actually talk to him, he seems like the freaking smartest guy in the world.
No, he's
know?
super cool.
Super
cool.
awesome.
Also, he's a big metalhead too.
Yeah,
He just appreciates all music, really. I mean, but he likes a lot of metal too. He could be anything he wants to be, basically. Rap
yeah.
seems to be his calling, and I think it's also probably more popular. So you might as well go make your money. So he does what he does, and I think I have a lot of respect for Post Malone. So
Yeah.
he's one I hope that continues on forever. But I mean, the guy's also I think younger than me and you, Tanner.
He is.
He's only like 30. Does he get 30? Right at 30? I mean, I'm
is
32. You're 33.
Oh, I got it right here.
I mean, he's right around our age group.
27 years old.
Only right now?
27.
95, July 4th, 1995.
That's insane.
So
So
go
he's
ahead
way
and-
younger than us.
I want you to go ahead and look up my guy since you're in that business right now. I want you to go ahead and look up Drake. Figure out how old he is because Drake
It's like 35.
would be
36.
he would be my answer to this question. And while it was great that he bet $1.1 million on the Chiefs to win that last game and he won for once, like normally the guy he bets on a sporting event and he loses his ass, but he finally won one. So shout out to Drake. I mean, that'll be the biggest heartbreaker for me because I had my daughter 5 years ago and she literally once she came out of the womb, we were listening to Drake on the daily, and like back when he was just first starting out with Cash Money Records and Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that he came out with was just amazing, and he's got so many good quality songs out there. And that at some point, hopefully, it's a long, long, long down the road, but at some point, he's going to hang it up, and that'll be the most difficult one for me because I love me some Drake.
I could see him turn into more of a producer type style in the next 10 years,
But he's one of those guys. He's like Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z is he's too good to become a
hang
producer. Like he needs to keep putting out more content.
I
Like
agree.
That's kind of what happens with like a lot of rappers. Like I think Eminem still put out music here and there.
Yeah.
And I don't really know that anyone's gonna be sad whenever he's done putting out music. More because I think obviously he had his prime, which was probably
I mean, he was so great at
15,
it.
20 years ago, really got his name out there, I would say.
Yeah.
Some of those records he put out just in the OG days was pretty freaking amazing. Something that in this day and age would probably just not come across in the same way as it did back then. So I could see why he would be impactful to a lot of people, but he's not done by any means for a while. And I don't know, for me, it's not like one person. It's not one vocalist or one artist or whatever. It's a band. It's groups, and I already witnessed one retire in 2010, and they got back together in 2021. And so it was amazing to me to get to see them back together. I couldn't believe it. I would travel anywhere that it took for me to go see them, and I did. I went to Omaha and got to see Mudvayne live for the first time in my life. But otherwise, yeah, I got a few bands out there that I really care about these days, and like Wage War, stuff like that. Those guys are impactful metal groups of today's generation that a lot of people don't hear on the mainstream.
Yeah, and you're a lot closer to retirement with those guys than us.
Probably. Well,
yeah. Chad Graves on the vocals, 51. Right. Greg Tribbett on the guitar, he's 52. Ryan Martini, 49 on the bass, and Matthew McDonough,
yeah,
drums, 46.
Right, and they've been together since the late '90s. Is when Mudvayne began.
Gotcha.
So I mean, obviously, it's one of those things. As time goes on, especially if you're in metal scene, like the vocal aspect, the wear and tear it takes on your vocals is like none other. And guys like Chad who've done it all at this point in his career. You can only go so long with all that.
Add
everything else comes along with it.
To all those ages.
What?
Add an extra year. Because this data actually cut off at 2021. So
yeah, no. Hey, if Mudvayne was to call it quits now, I can at least say I'm fulfilled because I got to see them once. So,
no, big
and
time.
that's fine because they're not really producing new music anymore. They're just doing a few tours here and there, and that's about it. But some of my young dudes that are around my age group that are in metalcore, those are the guys that like whenever they call it quits, because metalcore bands tend to call it quits fairly young. When I say fairly young, I mean somewhere in their early 40s is when they start to wear down and really change or call it quits. Primarily because of the style of music. The style of music is not meant for guys who like an Ozzy or guys like some of your Italian vocalists who can just go out there and sing opera all day or whatever the hell else. It's meant for a young man's game. You can only go so far with it. So it's hard for me to pick one though. I want to hear you guys for the most part give me your Ozzy Osbourne, because me as a metalhead, as a kid growing up, Ozzy Osbourne was a big influence on my life as a young kid. And when I say young kid, I mean from the age of 10 to 16, 17, somewhere around that range. And just kind of the influence he put onto me that branched off into metal as I got older will always be there. And so I think that I can't believe still I did get to see Ozzy Osbourne once. He actually had to not go to a show in Green Bay, Wisconsin at one point. Like there was something that happened in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's about 20 years ago. Something happened in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He was not able to go. Ended up moving that tour date to Kansas City, and I did get to see Ozzy Osbourne, and it wasn't even scheduled on the tour. It just ended up happening, and it was an awesome time.
He must have had COVID or something.
So, well, this was 2004 or 5 or something.
I know.
Like that, so, well, maybe he had the Fiji flu. Who knows?
I believe I have it. So yes, so it was back in '82.
What was
this Ozzy Osbourne deal?
I wasn't alive in '82. What are you talking about?
He had the vid.
This is what it says. The Green Bay show was eventually rescheduled and moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where it took place without the incident.
It wasn't an '82, Tanner.
But what he did in this show, so he did it twice. Then is what you're saying?
Maybe.
So what he did in this show was during the show, Osbourne allegedly urinated on the Alamo Cenotaph monument. So the Alamo, he urinated on the Alamo during the show in San Antonio, Texas, which led to controversy and backlash. So as a result of the incident, Green Bay, the venue, canceled him from performing there. That's why he ended up being in KC, where it took place without.
And you're telling me this article you found is saying it's from '82?
It's not an article. It is. I don't know if you guys heard it. ChatGPT.
Now,
very great. It's an AI. So it goes back and research. So what?
Well,
so you're saying this was during your time?
Just about 20 years ago ish. was when this happened. So maybe 02. We're around that range. I don't know, Tan. I don't freaking remember, but
Yeah, no, okay.
whatever.
Yep, I
Not
don't know.
82. I was definitely not alive then.
There was
but
no Green Bay issue in that one. Since that
right,
I know of.
All
So.
right.
Maybe you're, I don't know, drunk.
I know for a fact what I'm talking about. Gosh darn it. Anyways, guys, Prince of Darkness has retired, and the GOAT has retired on the same exact day. So it's a very, good day. It's a good day to celebrate greatness, is what I'll put it as. So, speaking of greatness, you guys, let's talk about something that's going on currently in today's age. Obviously, we got to see an amazing game this past weekend. Chiefs Bengals. We were all together, and just watching this game unfold, it was terrifying. There was a moment in my soul there towards the fourth quarter where there was like 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. I told myself, we're going to lose this game again. How do you give up a 2nd and 16 to a tight end and expect to end up winning this game? I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. Another one of these freaking games where we end up punting the ball. They end up driving downfield. They end up winning it on the field goal. But no, the defense stepped the fuck up. Chris Jones stepped up. Frank Clark stepped up. This defensive line was freaking badass to watch unfold. And I know the Bengals had injuries. Guys, I understand that. I know they had injuries.
They had injuries in the Buffalo game, though.
They had issue.
Right. They didn't have an offensive line in that game either.
I understand all this, and I understand that. But this was something the Chiefs in the past few matchups could not overcome, even when there were injuries to the Bengals. This time, they actually prevailed and overcame the situation, which was just amazing to see. Chris Jones got his first 2 sacks in the playoffs of his career. So I know it took 15 games, but, I'll take it rather now than never. So that's the way I look at it, guys. So obviously there's a lot of controversy about the game and referees, and people think that it could be rigged and this and that, and we're tons of whiny cryny babies.
I got one response to that.
Whine about what?
The whole referee situation.
Well, we got lots of whiny cryny babies from the Bengals fans about this whole thing. And was the officiating perfect? No. There was definitely moments of sloppiness. Was there correct calls made that maybe looked like they shouldn't have been? Absolutely. Because why are you bitching about pushing Mahomes out of bounds when he's a whole 3 feet out of bounds already?
And there was
you're trying to say that should not have been called. Like, stuff like that is what's silly to me. And then you're trying to really you're trying to say these there's holding here and there. You're really reaching, because actually one of the rules of holding, when a defender gives you a rip move coming down the line at you, and you still maintain that frame, don't let him cross your body, actually that's not holding at all. Because otherwise every defender would literally be doing a rip move and then cry for holding every single play. This defender that they're saying should have been called for holding on Trey Smith tried to do a rip move. This is at the very end of the game, and Trey Smith just owned him and then put his ass on his back at the end of the play, and that was on Mahomes' scramble to rollout. And also, these penalties they're all bitching about, none of them at all ended up actually affecting the outcome of the game when it came down to it, because
none of them affected the outcome.
The moments where they're bitching about, the Chiefs either didn't convert, did not continue their down.
Correct.
Or the other side of the things where the Bengals ended up scoring anyway after penalties were called against them. All this stuff did not matter. The better team on the field in this game won the freaking game. Get the fuck over it, Bengals.
And here's the other thing about officiating. It's like, I feel like it's like people try to say the officiating just gets worse and worse and worse every year. And it has nothing to do with the Chiefs or the Bengals. Like, there were some questionable calls that were called against the Chiefs in this game too that nobody ever talks about. But the officiating hasn't gotten worse over the years. It's the exact same. Okay. The difference is we have more crybabies in the world today. We have more complainers that can't get over themselves. And that's not just in sports. That's just in life in general. And so this thing is going to be ramping up. If you think it's bad right now, I mean, we saw it last year in the Buffalo game. It just gets worse every single year. And you're never going to call a perfect game as an NFL official, because there's always going to be a human element. They're always going to make mistakes. But I'm getting sick and tired of all these people that say, "Oh, the officiating has just gotten it's so much worse than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago." No, you started complaining more, you dumbass. That's the difference. The officiating is the exact same way. But in terms of the game itself, I mean, Joe Burrow just got outplayed, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier that it was coming. I mean, he was due to just have a bad game, and he got outdueled. He had a 70 QBR. Mahomes was 105.4 on basically one leg. So, he got outdueled by Mahomes, who was on one leg. But it was a well-rounded game by the Chiefs. And as a Chiefs fan, that was my favorite thing to watch. The fact that the special teams, the offense, defense, they all three played well in the same game. Sky Moore had that amazing return. You had Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, each had 2 passes defensed. And we've already talked about Chris Jones and Frank Clark, but it was a team effort.
Mhm.
And
It was.
to me, like, Chris Jones was probably the MVP of that game, but Mahomes played great too.
Yeah.
And it was just a team effort. And, MVS, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, that was amazing. That was the guy that I did not expect that shit. The moment when he made that catch and then he extended his arm out to make that first down, that shit blew me away. I did not know. I don't think anybody thought that he was that guy that would make a move like that, and he did
Right.
it, and it just kind of blew me away.
And it's funny you bring him up about this because all year long, me and my dad have kind of joked about this. About he's this year's D Rob. He's this year's Demarcus Robinson of this year's team. And in a lot of ways, he's kind of been one of those goofy guys. It's like, man, are you ever going to step up and make a play, like do something special at any moment, or are you just going to be just a guy who's also kind of a turd when it really matters? And he's kind of been that way throughout most of the year. And yeah, to see him have this game the way he did, and to be a freaking gamer, and to even just to make the play, like sticking the ball out like that the way he did, to get the nose of that ball over that first down marker, that's something D Rob would have never done. That's something D Rob would have never had the ability to do. MVS deserves respect for the way he played this game because he was the WR1 for 75% of this entire game, because we were without Miko Hardman, Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
MVS had to step up and had to lead a unit of this. Marcus Kemp and Sky Moore. That was your only other receivers on the entire roster who were healthy enough to play. And the guy went out there and had a freaking amazing game and, caught 2 touchdowns. Like, praise him. Praise him for everything he did, because D-Rob would have never done that shit.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if D-Rob would have been in his shoes and all those guys, all the receivers would have got injured like that? What would D-Rob would have done? Well, I can tell you, he would have caught the ball and immediately fell down.
Or ran backwards.
If you're lucky, he would have caught the ball
Yeah.
and then fell down immediately.
Yeah, fell down around backwards, one or the other. Or especially that's, remember the screen pass that was out wide,
Oh.
and there were some blockers that MVS picked up about 25 yards or so.
Man.
That would have never happened with D-Rob on the team. So, as much shit as we've given him a little bit, I guess I shouldn't say as much, but we've given him some shit over the course of the season.
It's only his first year.
Because he's not necessarily lived up to his potential. The guy's 6'4", runs a 4.3. And it's like, come on, man, you have the physical abilities to be special. You're just not. You just haven't done it yet.
Correct.
This game, he was special. This game was probably the best game of his entire career. Not that I've watched every Packers game, but he is definitely the best game of his Chiefs career. So I do want to give him a lot of credit for the way things unfolded, without a doubt. But big shout out, of course, to the draft class from Brett Veach. And you guys know how we talk about Veach here, there, and there. We try to be honest with our opinions about Brett Veach. But the fact of the matter is this: George Karlaftis had a sack. Trent McDuffie was a big part of the defense. Jalen Watson had a pick. Brian Cook had a tipped pass that ended up in Joshua Williams' hands. All these guys that's named off are rookies that had an impact on this game big time. And I even forgot a couple of them there. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And Isaiah Pacheco, had all the receiving yards in this game, it seemed like. It's amazing the class that was put together by Veach this year, and the way that they've matured over the course of the season. These are not rookies anymore. These guys are true NFL vets at this point, matured so fast, and it's been a badass job to see him on all this unfold. Really,
But I do want to. I want people to call them rookies over this next week and a half as much as possible, because I just want these guys to come out and just be pissed off in the Super Bowl and try to, just do, obviously
I mean, we're already underdogs, so
do their job, but like when you have people tell you that, oh, you're just a rookie, I feel like that can add a little bit of fuel to the fire. But going back to MVS, Tanner, do you remember when Bodkins was on our show? Shout out to Bodkins right quick. He told us that when MVS came in, it's like this guy's hands are bricks.
Stone hands.
Stone hands. Shout out to Bodkins. I'm glad he was right in the regular season.
For the most part.
Yeah,
it really
he was exactly right. But who knew that this guy was going to like just have this epic game like that?
Well, in the biggest moments, his hands were not stone hands at all. And at the end of the day, that's what we care about.
With the most
in
pressure
in the big moments, when the pressure's on, can you make a play? And he did.
Yeah, because you just lost your top 3 essential receivers.
It's similar to like people who want to bitch about Harrison Butker and what a job he did in this playoffs. It's like we heard a lot of people who are starting to really question the confidence of Harrison Butker in this season. Meanwhile, they didn't realize he was literally number 2 all time in field goal percentage going into this season, only behind Justin Tucker.
It all comes back to the streaks, like I was talking about earlier. Like Harrison Butker went through a bad stretch, but he was also injured during the regular season. Right. And at some point, it's like the baseball card rule. You look on the back of, or in this case, the football card. You look up on the back of their football card, those percentages are going to revert back to the mean, no matter how bad of a season you're having. And that's exactly what's happening to Butker right now. Yeah, he had some shitty ass kicks, but we're hoping that he's going to get hot at the right time, which is exactly what he's starting to do.
Right. And the one thing on the Game Day show that Mike ended up hopping on as well, the one thing I said about Butker is I want it 40 plus. I want his field goals to be 40 plus.
Absolutely.
Because that's when he's on fire. That's when he's spot on.
Yeah. Don't let him kick the damn 30 and 28 yarders.
It's those easy ones that get in his head. But if he's 40 plus, he's money. And guess what we got? We got the 40 plus. That's all I wanted.
And you can always go for it. If he's just sitting there on a 28 yarder, just go for it.
I mean, it still gives you options. Yeah.
and Tanner, you had something you wanted to say a few minutes ago, but I think we just ended up getting on a rant.
Oh, well, I was just going to say on the referee part, I've just kind of been thinking about this since Monday as well, or since Sunday, but even after Monday's show. But if you guys look through it all here, the referees throughout the NFL, we've been complaining about this all season long. What makes you think this is going to change in a championship game? What makes you think next week in the Super Bowl it's not going to be any better?
Been complaining about this for decades.
Yeah. The last 3-4 years, at least, very heavily. Like this shouldn't be a surprise for anybody if you're complaining about missed calls. In the end, this is the NFL expectation now.
I want to say one thing. Joe Thomas was on Twitter talking about this game too, and as far as people bitching about the missed holding calls, Joe Thomas, one of the best left tackles in the history of the NFL, got on there and was like, guys, this is not holding. This is not holding. This is.
He did state that, yeah.
This is guys. If you're keeping your hands within their frame of their body while they're trying to do all this maneuvering, does not mean it's necessarily holding. And of course, Bengals fans don't like that because they can't use that as their argument.
Well, random fans, they don't understand what you just said. They all they know is their team lost, right, and they think the game is rigged. And that's all right. They know.
But I will say this to the point is that there was 5 minutes of that game that were complete disaster by Ron Torbert. Complete disaster where they misplaced the ball.
Absolutely.
They did not. They allowed an entire play to run without blowing it dead. That should have been not run at all in the first place, and then allowed the special teams to actually come out on the field while they discussed what should have happened in the first place too.
Correct.
And then told the special teams they could come off the field to let the offense back on to redo the 3rd and 9, which Mahomes then got sacked on the very next play.
Exactly.
But there was a defensive penalty against the Bengals on that play too to give the Chiefs an automatic first down. This series of events made the officiating look 1,000 times worse than it really was when it came down to it, because these guys had their heads up their ass. And I knew when Ron Torbert was announced as the Chiefs referee I knew when that happened. I was like, okay, this guy's in my bottom 5 of referees in the entire NFL. Is it worse than Kyle Sheffers? No, but it's also not good.
But wasn't he the guy that reffed all of those Bengals Chiefs games? I feel like he did all of them.
Torbert,
No,
Yeah.
he didn't do all of them.
not all of them.
He did
I
a
don't know.
couple of them, and I feel like
Sheffers did one for sure.
and I feel like we came on this show one time and said, okay, well, if Torberg is the ref, then the Chiefs are going to lose no matter what.
I'm mainly talking about Torbert in a way of just from watching football as close as I do.
Did he
and
do the last
understanding-
AFC Championship?
No. I'm just talking about Torbert. I knew Torbert historically has not been a great quality referee, which still blows my mind how the NFL can throw out some of the worst quality referees to judge these NFC and AFC championship games as well as a Super Bowl. I don't even want to get into that topic today. But no, I mean it's that his whole situation of the officiating screwing up their part of things, even though it really truly it did not have an impact on the game. It made it look worse than it really was.
Exactly.
They made it look like this is rigged. When the fact of the matter was, no, if you go back and rewatch some of these things, like, yes, there was an there was balls that were not placed properly by the officials, which but they came back and fixed what they did wrong. But it was the whole gathering together and discussing and taking time and redoing third down. It was that whole thing that made it look like this is all scripted bullshit. And luckily, at the end of the day, this drive I'm talking about didn't matter anyway.
Right.
Chiefs
it did
didn't get-
not matter.
Chiefs got no points on the drive anyway.
No points.
We ended up punting to the Bengals, and
Yeah, it didn't matter.
things went on as normal afterwards. But there was a time period in that game that was absolute trash, and I'm praying, I'm hoping. And you know me, I'm when I say I'm praying, yeah, I'm praying in my own way. I'm hoping Carl Sheffers does not fuck this game up because that is the guy who officiated the Buccaneers Chiefs game from 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. And I want this to be a clean game. That's
The
all I
guy,
care about.
I think he just needs to take some downers before the game because he just throws way too many damn flags, and that's not what
Well-
you want to see during a Super Bowl.
Well, luckily this time around we got a healthy O line, so that should help
Oh yeah, of course.
a little bit
Yeah.
from 2 years ago.
Yeah, of course.
I think they should just let Sheffers get drunk before the game, so he just stands there and just
Ooh, that's a good idea.
let him get drunk, and then he'll throw fewer flags because he'll be too lazy.
I don't
or
know. He
Now
might
whatever.
throw
you-
more, dude.
Now we're going to talk Eagles here in just a second, but you mentioned me a few minutes ago about how there's a chance that we could actually be once again invited to a referee committee meeting
Yeah,
the
oh,
second
yeah,
time.
that's coming.
for the
Speaking of-
second time.
That's coming.
We potentially could be invited once again to a referee meeting. We got to be a part of one.
Yeah,
2
are you
years
guys gonna
ago.
ask the same? Are you gonna ask this question again?
Well,
It's
Are you gonna ask the same
no.
question?
This meeting, this event is going to happen in a nondescript building, and I'm not going to announce where it's going to be. But there are certain questions that I asked last time, and I'm not going to ask that same question this time. It's going to be the same
Right.
guys.
Right.
But I mean, it's at the end of the day, they are paid to do their jobs. The NFL is paying them whatever you think their job is. Even if you're like on the side of, well, they rigged the games, whatever side you think they're on, the NFL gives them their paychecks. So they have to do a job, whatever that job means. And so we're going to just go there to pick their brains more than anything.
I did
Okay.
find something interesting on 610 this week. They interviewed Mike Pereira, if you know who that is.
Pat did too.
So
Right,
Mike Pereira's
he's-
been making his rounds apparently.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the
Former-
retired dipshit.
former NFL referee.
Yeah.
So do you remember one of the questions you asked one of the referees about rigging games? Just out of curiosity. You remember you asked him a question. What was do you remember the response about rigging games? Do you remember what they said?
Okay, so it was basically a rhetorical question because my question to the referee was, have you ever seen any evidence of payback calls?
Okay.
So it
Okay.
had nothing to do with like rigging games or anything like that. It was just like, because this is something that we look at in all sports. I'm a huge basketball fan, and during the flow of the game, no matter what sport we're talking about, if you make a bad call, you almost feel like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I need to right the ship, so to speak. And so we've seen, as a fan, I've seen evidence of what I think might be payback calls. And that's all that I was asking the guys. Like, have you ever seen any evidence of payback calls in the NFL? Which was totally a rhetorical question. I knew what his answer was going to be, and it was just like, no. He said something along the lines of, no, that's we would never get away with something like that. But that, I just feel like it's something that's real, and it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome of the game or the final score. But I feel like when you involve that human element into the game, and a referee makes a god awful call, and you have 60 or 90,000 people booing, saying, ref, you suck, ref, you suck. And they're chanting that over and over again. At some point, the human element takes over, and you're like, my gosh, I've got to make up for what I just did. And then you're gonna have a makeup call at the other end of the floor.
I was just wondering because for some reason something stood out to me. Mike Pereira said in his interview this week that he doesn't even know how you would rig a game. That was his answer. Is he doesn't even know how you.
Pat made the same point on Monday. He had a little segment on his show too. He talked about this, and he goes, "I don't like." They talked about the referee calls, rigging it, and then Pat stops and he goes, "I don't know how you could afford to do that in the NFL because you'd have to pay, right, the players, the coaches, the front staff, everybody involved. Like that's so much money to.
You don't have to pay anybody.
You don't have to pay anybody. No, Tanner.
You have to pay one. You have to pay one fucking guy.
One
That's
guy.
the lead official.
I don't think
that's it.
I think you got to do a lot.
No,
or if you're gonna rig games,
or
here's the thing: you don't have to rig the whole thing. But Tim Donaghy from the NBA,
correct.
Did he get every game right? No, he did not. There were some games he lost to his little mafia mob that had all the money on it. So same thing in the NFL. Maybe they're not always going to be correct. Maybe they're not always going to be able to make what they want happen.
A scripted, I guess I'm talking more scripted than rigged, right? So being entertainment.
Okay, no.
You would still have to hire. You would still have to pay a lot of people.
The word scripted can get the fuck out of here.
You're tired of it?
We'll save that for WWE. Okay.
That's what people are relating it to.
I am not talking about scripted football. That is not scripted. There is no such thing as scripted.
They want the story.
Tanner, there's no such thing as scripted football, and I'm not going to listen to it. Okay. Now, are there referees with bias? I believe so. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are there referees who want to make an impact on a game to sway things in a favor that they could benefit from? I think there's a chance of that. Yes. But the whole idea of when I say rigging, that's part of what I mean. Rigging. You can try to rig a game. You can try to make calls that
manipulate the game,
sway a game to go a certain way. But as far as scripted, I don't want to hear that fucking word talked about with football ever again. It's not possible, Tanner. It's not possible. It's not a thing. And we need to get that whole idea out of our mouth. But is there other Tim Donaghys or whatever you say? Is there more of those in the NFL? Potentially.
I mean,
of course.
You heard the story about Tolbert today, or whatever. Tolbert about his son placing
Tanner,
pretty big value, right?
God damn it! You're gonna make me pissed the hell off today.
I circled a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you though. Like scripted is the wrong word. I'm just saying when you have the human element involved, people can make mistakes, and like if you feel the need, I feel like it happens more often in basketball than it does football because, in basketball, these guys are flying up and down the court. It happens so fast, whereas football happens a little bit slower. But in basketball, you can have that feeling in a split second as a referee where you're just like, wow, I just fucked that up. And without even consciously thinking about it, go down to the other end and say, okay, I got to make sure that I have to favor the other team on the other side of the court. And so I think it's easier in basketball.
As a referee in basketball, you don't have time to sit there and let's delay the game for 10 minutes
it happens,
while we decide what the hell this call should be.
Exactly. It happens subconsciously.
You kind of have to be like, okay, as the game's going on continually, as a referee, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, that was a really judgment call. I probably need to slightly go the other way on this next call. And, that way. But also, Tim Donaghy is one of those guys. He said that certain referees favor certain players. That is
Yeah.
a thing in sports. I believe that too.
I think if anything in the NFL, it would be very similar to what Tim Donaghy was doing, which was not trying to make a certain team win, but to make sure that a spread was covered. And that's
Right.
if you were going to fix a game in the NFL, that's exactly how you would do it. You would make sure that the correct team won, but you would make sure that either the winning team covered or the losing team covered. If you were going to fix a game in the NFL, that would pretty much be the only thing that you would do is try to control that point spread, which is exactly what happened in college basketball. I think it was like probably 15 or 20 years ago. It was like a point shaving scandal, and that involved an actual player. I don't think that had anything to do with the refs. That was a player shaving points.
Right. Guys, I didn't mean to get into this big topic tonight. So I will say, before we wrap this up real quick, the Chiefs and Eagles game is going to be awesome. We do finally have the Kelsey Bowl. I've been talking about this all year long. Just this, what I have imagined all year long. If the script fits the bill for Tanner over here, the Kelsey matchup, the Kelsey Bowl this year was always the ideal matchup for the Super Bowl. You get a 1 seed versus a 1 seed, the two best teams in the NFL, in my opinion, and as well as brother versus brother. And I've kind of foreseen this happening all year long. I've been calling it since like week 7.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense to me. It makes sense in a storyline way. It makes sense in play way. I mean, I just think these are the two most fun teams to watch in the Super Bowl. If for some reason the 49ers had come out with a win, I'd be bored. I'd be like, guys, go out there and get your win. Chiefs, go out there and do your business. Take care of business, Chiefs. No, and right now I'm like, hey, Eagles are a badass team. I like Jalen Hurts. I like Devontae Smith. AJ Brown's awesome. Like, I'm a big fan of Dallas Goedert. It's like, man, I want to see a freaking awesome game. And the Chiefs win the game, in the last minute, Harrison Butker field goal, whatever the hell. I don't know. But I think this is going to be an awesome, awesome game. And I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to dive into it quite a bit more with you guys. Because this week we wanted to, hey, it's the bye week, right?
Yeah.
Before the Super Bowl. So
we'll have a little better idea on health wise too. So for both teams next Wednesday.
Well, I don't know if you want to hit on anything else, guys, but
got to hit on LeBron.
Okay, yeah, hit on LeBron.
Got to hit on LeBron. He's like
89
points away from the record.
From Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
You guys talk about it. I got to open up this beer.
So
this next topic.
From being a career all-time scoring list leader here, we're just 89 points away.
Yeah. So I think the big question that everybody wants to know is like, once he breaks Kareem's scoring record, does that just automatically make him the GOAT, the greatest NBA player of all time, or does he have a little bit of work left to do?
Is Kareem considered the greatest, basically the GOAT, the greatest player on time, greatest player of all time?
I've always had him at number 2.
Okay. So
basically because he had the scoring record, but he also had a 6-4 record in the finals, which is the exact opposite of LeBron's 4-6 in the finals. Kareem had, he played along Magic Johnson. That's great. But it's like all of LeBron's championships, he always had at least a minimum of 2. I'll give you one. Minimum of 2 Hall of Fame players alongside. So all of his teams were stacked. And so I always had Kareem ahead of LeBron. I still have him ahead of LeBron. I don't care if he breaks the record. So, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Let me throw this at you here, okay, for LeBron. LeBron, when he passes him, could potentially have less games played than Kareem. Less minutes by 5,000 minutes or 4,000 minutes. Okay, this is 4,000 minutes less with LeBron hitting this record. Field goals made less than Kareem. Field goals attempted, I'd say it's pretty even, about 28,000. By the time LeBron finishes.
How are you guys going to compare eras here? We always talk about this.
It's easy. It's easy to compare eras.
But if you just look at it here, Kareem played for 21 years. LeBron's on his 20th, right? 19th, 20th of his career. But you can see that there's less all the way around. Like LeBron James has been more efficient than Kareem in his years, essentially. So, I mean, by the time he passes him, he'll still be way under the games played, the minutes played, the field goals made.
And I think the efficiency is a little bit of an illusion here because I think Rodman threw this out one day that if you threw Jordan in the same era with LeBron, he would average 40 points a game. Well, guess what? I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would have done the exact same thing. You know why?
I don't know.
Kareem was unstoppable back in the day, but they actually played defense back then. Like you were literally allowed to shove a guy and knock his ass down onto the ground, and you do not get a flagrant or a technical foul. That was a common foul back then. So you could literally just throw guys around. You could play legitimate defense when Kareem and Jordan were playing. And so in LeBron's in LeBron James's era, they played we'll call it very minimal defense. Now, right now, we'll say in the last 5 years, yeah, they don't play any defense at all in the last 5 years. But throughout the course of LeBron's entire career, there is very minimal defense. Whereas when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was playing, like you couldn't stop the guy. Like you literally just throw it into him. The only way you could stop him is by fouling him because he had the most unstoppable shot in the history of the game, which was the sky hook. The sky hook, you can't block it. He was a 7-foot guy, and you just literally couldn't block the shot. So LeBron, on the other hand, I mean, people stopped him his whole career. I mean, it's easy to shut down LeBron.
Era, dude.
Why do you think LeBron
it's a total different era?
I don't like the 40 points a game thing, guys. Like the idea that anyone could ever average 40 points a game to me is absurd because if that's the case, why doesn't Steph Curry do that? Because Steph Curry is every bit athletically capable of the shooting ability of Michael Jordan as anyone has ever seen the court.
Correct.
So like and Steph does not average 40 points a game. He's more of what, 31, 32?
30, yeah, 30.
Somewhere around that range. 40 points a game to me is just not a thing that would ever be possible in my opinion. That's all I have to say about that. You guys continue.
It's a new era. I think if Kareem came to play in today's age, he doesn't have that 3-point shot, right? He doesn't go for that what big guys do not now go for.
I'm just saying, like, there's always
defense. Everybody can play defense. You got out of your 5-man on the court, you can have up to 4 guys be able to play down low with you the entire time.
I'm just saying there's always been this false narrative out there about LeBron James being unstoppable. Well, if you were unstoppable, dude, you would not be 4-6 in the finals. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was basically unstoppable, and he had a winning record in the finals. Michael Jordan had a winning record in the finals. Many, many other superstars in the history of the game had winning records in the finals, dude. Don't think that LeBron was this unstoppable force. Shaquille O'Neal, unstoppable force, winning record in the finals. You're not unstoppable if your record is 4-6 in the finals. I'm sorry. That's the worst false narrative of all time. And so I'm trying to end it right here. But no, I would be willing to move LeBron onto the Mount Rushmore if we want to have that conversation.
I just want to know.
I'll bring him onto the Mount Rushmore if he breaks the scoring record. I'm fine with that.
I'm confused. Like, where do you see these storylines? Do you go like ilovelebron.com or do you go to ESPN and hover all over that site? Because those are only 2 spots that you would find them at.
No, everybody, like, dude,
Nobody
like,
thinks
it's all over the place.
But LeBron is also a dominant force.
Everybody thinks he's unstoppable.
LeBron
dude.
is definitely in that top 5, right?
They think he's unstoppable.
Top 5 all time?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I agree
Easily,
with that.
Right?
I agree
dude,
with
I just told you if he breaks Kareem's scoring record,
he's then top 5.
No, I'll put him on the Mount Rushmore, top 4.
Top 4.
But
I agree.
Don't ever try to put him ahead of Kareem because that's the most ridiculous bullshit
he's more
I've ever heard in my
athletic,
life.
He plays longer. He
Athleticism does not equal accomplishments. Get it through your head.
No, you're worried about finals. That's all you're worried about. I'm looking at the overall game.
Jamarcus Russell was very athletic. Did he accomplish anything?
He was
probably not.
Because you're looking at stats and they suck and they're awful.
Athleticism does not equal accomplishments.
Titles. You look at titles. Who cares about? I mean, who cares? I care.
Everybody cares.
But I also want to see the general of the game. Robert Horry has 8 titles or whatever.
Was he a superstar though?
That's why.
How
I
do we
wanna know.
measure superstars? Do you
So-
consider
so
Robert
do you
Horry a
get-
superstar? Do you
Then
think
we
that
pay attention.
Do you think that Bill Russell was a superstar averaging
do we pay
15
attention?
points a game?
Only when
No.
a superstar has a bad record.
We're measuring superstar versus superstar. Bill Russell averaged 15 points a game, and then whoever the hell else you want to throw out
Look
there.
at the body of work, man. Look at the body of work. Okay.
In an era where they don't play a shit worth of defense.
It's a different era, man. You after
Yes,
after
it's
Jordan's
a different era where they don't play defense. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
05 training took a left turn. It's enhanced training. You got guys on the bench that could easily be starters elsewhere. You could fill in guys left and right. The skills are unprecedented. Like they could start back in the 60s, 80s, and 90s easily. Half those bench guys.
That's fine. I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, like it's a different era.
He's
LeBron's
got a
going
ways
lot
to go.
harder.
Mike thinks he's going to do it in 3 games. I think it might be 4 games. But the bottom line is
20,
like
40.
he will officially enter the JG Mount Rushmore when he breaks the record. I'm
Give him
telling you
5.
that.
Give him 5.
5
Yeah.
games?
Yeah.
Why?
Catastrophic injury.
He's
No.
averaging over 30 a game, Tanner.
He's hurt. He is.
Oh,
banged up.
he already had the catastrophic injury. Never mind.
He got banged up in that Celtics game. And if you kind of look at, of course, why would we not pull up when I want to pull up?
By the
freaking
way,
Lakers?
while you're pulling that up, let's just mention the
Hate
fact
those
that
things.
he is about to break the record on a 13 seed in the Western Conference with a 24-28. Oh, big surprise. LeBron James losing record in the
Who
regular
does he
season.
have? Anthony Davis is still sitting on the bench.
Last I checked, Russell Westbrook
Oh
won
my
the
God.
MVP
I don't know
in
what I'm talking
2017.
Not even talking
Averaged
about-
how many years did he average a triple double?
You saw what he did last year. It ain't the same Russell.
Now I'll give you Anthony Davis. The
I
guy
do-
can't even stay on the damn court.
I think Matt Ryan won the MVP in 2017 too. So
There you go. Matt Ryan and
Man.
Russell Westbrook.
things can change over time.
So I'm just saying, like
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
have a guy like
5
LeBron,
games. Oh,
when you have a guy like LeBron who's the 13th seed, granted, there's only 15 teams, guys, in the Western Conference, and he's the 13th seed. Let's just not rush to judgment here when he breaks his scoring record and be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. That team sucks, even though he's got Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's just padding his stats, which is the only thing that he can do in this stage of his career. He can't win anything, and he knows that. He has a losing record in the finals, never going to get better. So at this point, he's doing the exact same thing that you guys all torched Russell Westbrook for back in 2017,
I never.
which
torched
is
Russell.
padding his stats.
What else is he
He's
supposed to
just trying to get a
do? When
triple
you're
double.
on- No,
LeBron James, guess what he just did?
you're on
He
crappy
had his
teams.
first triple double. Why do you think that happened? He just had his
So confused.
first.
What are we talking about?
LeBron just had his first triple double of the season.
Who cares?
Why do you think that happened? Because his team sucks and he wants to pad his stats.
What is he
because
supposed to do? Just sit out? Do you just not want him to play?
He's chasing.
Is that
the,
what you want?
he's chasing the ghost?
That's
of
all I
Ka-
want to know.
Right now, I will tell you exactly what's happening.
You're mad at the guy if he plays. You're mad at the guy. if
He is
doesn't play.
chasing the ghost of Kareem
I'm so
Abdul-Jabbar, and if he ever gets by that, which will never happen, then he can chase another ghost.
What do you want?
He
him
can
to
chase
do?
Tom Brady.
What do you want him to do? I want you to answer that.
Let's
question.
compare sports. Fuck the eras. Let's compare sports. You think he's better than Tom Brady?
Yes.
Westbrook
In his sport?
averaged a triple double.
Fuck
though.
no, he's not better than Brady.
Well, there's a difference between Westbrook averaging a triple double for a whole season versus LeBron getting one anomaly.
You
for the whole
think
season.
LeBron is better in his sport than Tom Brady is in his? Because I'm going to walk off the fucking
Actually-
show if you say that right now.
Like currently?
What do you mean currently?
What are you talking about?
Do you
No,
think
wait,
LeBron?
That's an
rephrase.
overall?
Do you think
Rephrase your
LeBron
comment.
James is better in his sports than he has more accomplishments
No,
when his career is
No,
over
no, no,
than
I'll-
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady has.
Because
that.
if you think that, I'm going to walk out of here
Tom
right
Brady
the
has that.
fuck now.
By the
This
way,
is bullshit.
OKC at OKC, Minnesota, and Golden State is the next 3 games. I think he does actually do it in 3 games.
Yeah, no, I'm
Those
with
are
you.
tough games.
Guys, I've been saying 3 all along. 3
no,
makes
I
the
know,
most
I
sense.
got-
At most, Memphis at 4.
I got 4 games. He's going to pull a Kawhi
I mean, he's
Leonard.
gonna-
and
You
take
guys
a
got to
game
understand
off.
if he's padding his stats, as you say, he's going to do it in 3. So
No, he could take a game off
You-
like Kawhi Leonard.
you could
Kawhi
easily-
likes to take
well,
games off.
there is a Friday in here where she likes to take off. So It might be.
Mm.
It might be.
He
Memphis
does like to
when he
drink
does
some
it.
wine. He likes his wine, so take a day off and drink some wine.
I don't know.
for a day.
Kawhi likes wine.
No,
That is-
LeBron.
Oh, LeBron likes.
He's going
wine.
to take a game off. I'm telling you that.
Do you think, how much wine do you think LeBron drinks in a night normally when he's drinking wine? It's like 2 glasses, 1 glass. What?
He could. I mean,
I'd
he
say
probably goes
splurge.
through a bottle.
Yeah,
Whole
he probably
bottle
does a
easily.
bottle.
I
Yeah.
bet. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. I would do the same.
I mean, look
Because
at-
of his weight, like he has
he
a big
weighs
enough
like
weight.
he weighs 260.
If he drinks a full bottle in one night, like
mean,
he could play the next day.
yeah,
no
it's
problem.
a guy also that works out every day,
that-
metabolism's up. Like he doesn't have.
That's
an
why
issue.
I also don't have a problem with Travis Kelce going out and partying all night.
No,
I don't give a goddamn what the hell he's doing in Lawrence.
those guys.
He could be
are
doing shots
fit.
and drinking beers. First of all, our game's not for another 11 days. But yeah, I have no problem with my boy Kelce out there getting hammered.
So anyway,
do what you
like
do.
yeah, 3 or 4 games, whenever it happens, great. You're on my Mount Rushmore.
He's top 4 in assists. Too.
And-
just passed it.
I will still have Kobe ahead of him, but he will officially be number 4 and in the Mount Rushmore of the JG. So congratulations, LeBron.
I'd have to really dig into that. I think I'd still have him probably 3 on my list.
Yeah, ahead of Kobe. You put
No. It'd be MJ, Kobe, LeBron.
Oh,
3.
okay.
Number 3.
Oh, so where do you have Kareem?
Number 4.
Oh, you have. Oh, that's interesting. I've
When-
never
when
heard
he
that one.
passes Kareem, I think he.
You've
takes
got
the
Kobe
first
number
spot.
2.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never heard that
I
one
think
before.
Kobe honestly is borderline 1 with Jordan. It's like 1A.
Wow, I like your
The
take.
way Kobe played
Yeah,
the
I-
game and everything from a general aspect of
I
it
like
all,
the take. I mean,
I'm right there with it. And
I
didn't he play longer? Right?
he's 5-2 in the finals, so nobody really gives a shit how long he played. I mean, he was.
I'm just saying, like from a season standpoint too. Like
Michael Jordan said that
'Cause-
was the one guy that could probably beat him in a game of one-on-one.
he would have beat him in a game of 1-on-1. Just saying,
Maybe once out of
he
10.
would have beat him. in a
Maybe
game of
2. I'll give him 2 out of 10.
He would have beat him easily in the game 1-on-1.
The bottom line is he's better. He's better than LeBron, no matter what you guys say.
Man,
I've got him 3. Tanner's got him at number 2. I've got Kareem at number 2. So, but if you're on the Mount Rushmore, that does not mean that we are haters, right? That means we
No.
love the player. So the bottom line is when he accomplishes this feat of breaking the scoring record, it's amazing, right? And nobody on this show is going to hate on him because he's literally a top 4 player of all time.
I
We
feel
love the
lucky
guy.
as an 89 baby. That you're 90. You're in 84, 5, 6.
He's a 70s.
You're a 70 babe. My bad. My bad. So at least in my standpoint,
You could.
I was trying to be nice.
You didn't wish me a happy birthday the other
I
day.
did
To
wish
be
you.
fair,
I
you
did
could
wish
just do
you.
it.
did.
Just do
And
it on
you
the
said
damn.
thank you.
No, I want it. I want it live. I want you to do it live on the show. I
I did it Friday or last Wednesday. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. He's 46. Herm Edwards number.
1977. I
So-
was born in the 70s. There
What
you
I'm,
go.
what I'm trying to say is, at least in my lifetime era, to have the ability to have such stardom, such superstar in such 3 different generations, such as MJ in the 90s as we're growing up, Kobe Bryant to take over that role, and then LeBron to take over the Kobe role. Having 3 guys just like that is, I honestly think we're just lucky to have something like that.
So wait, did you say you've got LeBron at number 4?
No, I said 3.
3. Okay, you've
You
got
have him at 4.
Kareem. So you got Kareem. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. This is a great debate. I'm glad we have this
Oh, my
debate.
Lord.
We'll have it again.
Guys, all I'm going to say, I got to go piss. We're going to talk a lot of NBA
Now,
after next weekend. After
That's
next
fine.
week.
But keep in mind, Tanner, you do not want the Golden State Warriors to win the championship this year because at that point,
It doesn't matter.
LeBron James once again falls off
Doesn't matter. Steph
of the
doesn't
Mount
pass him.
Rushmore because he will no longer be the best player in the city of Akron.
Steph can't pass him.
So
Steph was
Steph
born in
can't
the
pass
city of Akron. If he gets 5 rings,
I
it's
told
over.
you this last year.
It's
He needs
over.
3 more rings to pass him.
Oh, fuck no.
So next week for you guys out there listening is going to be all NFL, all football, all Chiefs, all Eagles.
Super Bowl.
We're doing all Super Bowl talk for sure. It's going to be a full 1 hour, and without a doubt.
We're gonna have sports bets. We're gonna have different props.
All
We're
everything.
gonna have the whole big discussion, just like we did last year, even more. Now.
And I don't know, but we're gonna try to see if we can get some fun guests on, maybe even.
I got it.
So,
I got
let's stay tuned for that. Let's see what we can do.
Hey, let's
Tanner's
just
got
do
some people,
if they
but-
let me.
let's do a Twitter
Let's-
poll. Who's the best NBA player ever
God damn it! No.
that was
We're
born
Okay.
in the city of Akron? What do you guys
Right.
like, Steph or LeBron?
We're saving that topic Jason has in his mind for 2 weeks from now. So that's a cute topic. I love it. We've done it before,
It's very
but
cute.
we'll do it again in 2 weeks from now. So that's something that we'll be putting off till later day. We still have one more gosh darn show of all on football, Chiefs, Eagles. Hope you guys are hyped up as hell for it because by the time it rolls around, we'll know the injury reports. We'll sat through a lot of the interviews. We'll get to see some more information about how everyone's feeling and just some more comments along the way, of course, over the next week. So I'm just pumped to see how everything plays out because Super Bowl week, guys, is a full week of media.
Oh, it's massive.
It's a full week of everything. And the Chiefs are practicing apparently at Arizona State University. Meanwhile, the Eagles get to use the Cardinals practice field. What kind of bullshit's this? What kind of bullshit is this?
It's rigged.
It's rigged.
Staged.
Scripted.
We've already played on the field.
Now, if I was a Bengals fan, I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, it's rigged. It's scripted.
Or if you're a Bills fan,
It's just not fair.
or if you're a Bills fan from 2 years ago, change the overtime rules. My dick hurts.
change the rules. It's just not right. It's not right. Anyways, now that we're done with those pansy asses, I'm done talking Bengals for the rest of the freaking season right now because those little Bengal pussies can get the hell out of here. All right, guys. Any last comment before we are done? Because I'm done. I got to go piss really bad. You guys went on a rant about the NBA for too long.
That was an epic rant, but let's get
Okay.
him out of here, guys. So Saturday, first Tanner and JG NBA show coming up this Saturday, I'm thinking.
Possible. Let's hit that bell below, guys. You
Hey.
see that bell? I think it's on this side. That bell.
Hit the
Click
bell.
Click it
Tanner.
because you'll know if we're live.
Tanner, I know you have something planned for tomorrow. Something we want to talk about, maybe? No?
Oh yeah, guys, my Whiskey Sports podcast, my personal podcast channel here. I got currently planned is tight end, former Chief tight end, Jason Dunn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super
The
excited. for him.
greatest blocking tight end in the history of the NFL.
Super excited. for this
Jason
one.
Dunn.
History.
So tune
That
in
is
to my
damn
Whiskey
right.
Sports podcast, guys.
Check it out, Tanner.
I had
it's-
Lonnie Martz
how do you-
Jr. on last week.
Yes, Lonnie Martz is badass. He led the league in forced fumbles in
He did.
1993.
He did.
But so Tanner, what's the at or what's the thing for the
At Whiskey Sports
at
podcast.
Whiskey Sports Podcast? Okay.
Yeah, YouTube.com/at Whiskey Sports.
So Jason
Podcast.
Dunn is tomorrow night.
tomorrow night. Currently
Okay.
scheduled
All
for
right.
7:00.
All right, man. That's freaking
So,
badass.
We start Super Bowl talk as of right now, Monday on Let's Talk Sports. So I'll be Buffoon Botkins right here in Sports Buffoons. So
Very nice, man. Excited for all that. Well, you guys done? I'm
We
done. I
done.
gotta go pee.
We done.
Guys, we'll see y'all next Wednesday, and we'll be back with tons of Chiefs and Eagles talk all for a freaking hour. Super Bowl week coming right up, you guys. And I'll see y'all on the next one.
Outro.
see you guys.